Hello and welcome to another episode of the Portrait Profits Show. I am so glad that you're here with us this evening. My name is Jim Landers, and my mission is simple. I help portrait photographers just like you make a great income doing what they love. Each week, you get tips and systems on the business side of photography designed to help you gain a mastery over marketing and sales, reducing the struggles that most photographers face so you can finally get what you deserve. You're in the right place. Welcome to the Portrait Profit Show. The Portrait Profit Show is brought to you by Digital Pro Lab and Landers Photography School. And with us from Digital Pro Lab is Amanda. Hi, Amanda.
Hi, Jim. How are you?
Doing great. How about you?
I'm doing fabulous. You ready for another panel discussion?
Don't we love these panels?
I do. And you know how much I love marketing, so I'm especially excited about today's panel, especially and because I know
Oh,
everybody
yeah.
on this panel for once. I know a lot of the photographers that we bring on, but this is uniquely one where I know every single person. I've worked with them, and I absolutely enjoy working with them and what they do. They're teaching me a lot, so I'm excited to bring them on and have them teach everybody as well.
Nice. Well, I am expecting this to be a lot of fun. We definitely have some good panelists on this time. We've been lucky. All of our panelists have been fantastic. And of course, we always think that the one that we have right now is just the best ever, but we believe it. The one we have for you guys today is just amazing. We're excited to bring them to you.
Yeah,
So I guess, unless you wanted to say something before I bring them on, I should just bring them on.
let's do it.
All right. All right. So we've got Christy and Elizabeth and Gabriel. How you guys doing?
Great.
Doing
Great.
fine. Just fine.
Nice. So glad you guys are here with us today. We are going to be bringing each one of them to you one at a time so they can tell you a little bit about what they do before we actually get into each one of the questions. And so I'm going to take them off right now and bring them back up here in just a moment. So, any last thoughts or words before we move into this?
I think let's jump right in. We love doing this. Digital Pro Lab uh, enjoys bringing speakers on with y'all, and we love supporting you, Jim, and everything that you're doing for our community. So more about that later at the end. I want to jump right in because I know everybody's waiting to hear the panelists. So let's do it.
Awesome. Thank you. All right. You guys, you are in for a treat. Welcome to today's panel discussion where we're going to be exploring the secrets of success for marketing your portrait photography business. We've gathered three of the most experienced and successful professionals, each with their own unique perspective and expertise. Our goal today is to share valuable insights and advice that you can use to grow your business. You're in for a treat. Let's get this started. Let's first bring up, and I need to bring up my list. We're going to bring Christy up first. If I can click on the right button. There we go. Christy, how are
Hi,
you doing? I'm so
Jim.
glad you're here.
Thank you for having me on. I'm excited to be here.
Good. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do?
Yeah, absolutely. My name's Christie Kaye. I'm co-founder of Koasis Media, which is a media collective designed to support you and whatever you want to do. So, whether that's photo, video, graphic design, post-production, social media deployment, etc., we're here to support everyone. Through our business venture we started in 2020, we found ourselves working a lot in the nonprofit world. We're really passionate about creating media with purpose and advocate a lot for sustainable content archives. So we're really just here to support and be like a media department without the continuous overhead of one. And then we've even gone so far as to work with other agencies and are very much in the subcontract white labeling / partnership role with a lot of people who need media. And in this digital age, it's pretty much everyone. So we're not exactly marketing, but we are marketing adjacent. And I'm excited to be here and learn from everyone and get to communicate with you all.
That's a really good intro.
Thank you. It's a
Thank you
lot
so
more
much.
nerve-wracking than like.
Well, totally understand that. All right. Thank you, Christy. Let's bring on Elizabeth next. Elizabeth, how are you doing?
Hello. I'm great, thank you.
I'm so excited that you're here. I've known Elizabeth for a long time.
That's
In
just that.
fact, when when Robin and I had our first child, when we did our Robin's pregnancy photograph 20 something years ago, guess who we hired as our photographer? Elizabeth, thank you for being here today. Can you tell us about you and what you do?
I can. Thank you for having me. This is a fun experience. I appreciate you guys asking me to do this. Yeah, I have been in the photography business for 31 years this year. Started fresh out of college and didn't know what I was doing, but with the help of my parents, we created a portrait studio. We built a 4,500 square foot studio on 2.5 acres, and have been doing that ever since. There was one point that I had 11 employees, and I was, pretty much working 7 days a week. But now we've scaled that down. It's my husband and I have a part-time girl who helps me. And so it's just the 2.5 of us, and creating family portraits, senior portraits. I'm sorry, my dogs are barking. And we specialize in wall decor, large wall decor, and art books and albums. So anyway, that is what I do. I love teaching newer photographers the ropes about photography business, not just creating the images, lighting, posing, etc., but actually making a business out of it so that you can make money and you can have the life you want to live. Be able to travel, put your kid through college, have a nice house, all of those things. I couldn't do without this in this industry has been so good to us. But I worked hard, and now I'm kind of where I want to be, and I love that. I'm getting to a point where retirement may be in at least this foreseeable future. And that's exciting, although I'll probably never quit photographing, but maybe not just quite as much as I'm doing now.
I understand that. Yeah, I don't know that we ever really retire. There's too much fun stuff. We enjoy this stuff too much.
Absolutely.
There's some things that we don't enjoy quite as much as others.
Yes. Yes.
But for the most part, this is fun. This is exciting. This gets us going.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for sharing that, Elizabeth. All right, let's bring on Gabriel. Gabriel, how's it going?
It's going.
Well, it's
Yeah,
good
for sure.
to see you again. I'm so glad that you're here today. Can you tell us a little bit about you and what you do?
Of course. So I been in San Antonio for most of my life. I did spend some time in South Carolina, grew up out there. So definitely different parts of the nation, but I got to learn a lot from each. And so I've been a photographer here in San Antonio for over 10 years. And leading up into maybe about 4 years ago, I opened up a creative agency called Summit Creative Group. And with that agency, we still do photography, but we also do other things like brand strategy, content creation for businesses, organizations, where individuals just needed to be seen. And so still do photography for myself, aside from the agency. And then on top of what we do in the business side, we have another business called SA Creatives. And that business is more of a community group for the community, the creatives here in San Antonio. It's built up of photographers, models, videographers, and basically just anybody that is in the creative space here in San Antonio. And our mission is to bring the community together through art and culture. And so we have these meetups once a month, sometimes more. And we just bring literally the creatives of San Antonio together. And we have these huge photography meetups where we'll do photo walks, or we'll have big events at places like Hopscotch to just have a fun environment for photographers and people in the space to feel safe.
That is pretty cool. How long have you been doing that?
So SA Creative has been around for about 4 or 5 years, almost
Cool.
almost 5 years. We
Nice.
did take a little break. There wasn't a lot of groups going on during COVID, and
Right.
so I would say last year was our year where we kind of really came back together, and people were just wanting that community again. So we revamped it, we made it better, and we're basically still on that journey of adding more things like programs and workshops so people can grow in their craft and be able to one day hopefully do it for a living.
Nice. Love that.
For sure.
Cool.
For sure.
Well, Gabriel, I'm going to be asking you the first question.
Awesome.
But before I do, there's a couple of things, housekeeping things that I want to bring up. So I'm going to take you off the screen, but then bring you back
Okay.
on. All right. So you guys, those are our 3 panelists. And if you like what you're hearing so far, give them a like, give them a love. Let them know that you're here for them, that you like what it is that they are doing and what they're doing it for, and that you're excited about what they're going to be saying here in just a moment. Now, before you do any, if you haven't already done this, and some of you I know already have, but across the screen right now, we use a template or we use a software that causes us to be able to simulcast this show to multiple places. And it's a platform that's called StreamYard. You can see it going across the screen right now. But if you click on that link that's showing there, the StreamYard.com/Facebook, if you're one of our Facebook users, we'll be able to see who you are if you give us that permission. That's just giving StreamYard permission to let us know that you're here, that you exist. Otherwise, it will say Facebook user. We simulcast to 5 different Facebook pages, 2 different YouTube channels, and 1 LinkedIn page. And we won't know for necessarily those who are commenting on the YouTube and the LinkedIn. Sorry, you guys, but we do go and check them later. But all those who are on Facebook, we'll be able to respond to you. We'll know who you are. And so do me a favor and click #live. After you've clicked on that link, the StreamYard.com/Facebook. Now, you only have to do that once. Once you've done that, as long as you're using the same computer or cell phone, you don't actually have to do it every single time. But you can see the difference. If you make a post and you write in #live right now, we'll see your name, and I will be able to do a shout out to you. Otherwise, it will say Facebook user to me. I won't know who it is. So that is, I want you right now to enter in #live, letting me know that you're watching live. By the way, if you're watching this later and this is a replay, please enter in #replay. We know there's a lot of you that watch it later, but for those of you who are watching right now, please #live. That way we know you're watching it. And a couple of shout outs. I'm seeing several Facebook users, which is great. If you want to watch anonymously, that's how to do it. It's by not clicking that StreamYard link. But let's see. I see Danielle. Hey, Danielle. And Jero. Glad you're here. Sharon. Always good to see you, Sharon. Jasmine. Hi, Jasmine. And Fred and Gregory. And there's a bunch more of you, but I won't have time to read everybody's name. But do me a favor, enter in that #live. I also ask that you share this. Let other people know that this exists, that just that little share button right there, right with it, right close to where you're making the comment at the top of the post. Click that share button. Let others know that this is here, that this exists. Don't keep it a secret. Uplift the entire photography community uplifting the entire photography community is beneficial to us all. So I'm glad you guys are here. All right, let's do our first question, and you guys already know who that's going to because I mentioned it a moment ago. But our first question is going to Gabriel. So that's not the one. That's the one. Gabriel, what is the single most important thing that a photographer must have to get started in marketing their business or maybe special project that they want to promote?
A camera. No. For sure, a camera. That'd be nice. Honestly, though, I thought about this question, and a lot of things came to mind. A funnel, an Instagram page, but really, what I think it comes down to is having goals, having goals that you could attain, that that you can attain. It can be small, short-term goals, or maybe a goal that's a little bit further down the line. But I think having those goals and writing them out, um, it could be, I want to shoot, at least 4 clients a month for the next 3 months, or I like to shoot, in a studio and outdoors within the next month, or I would like to charge X amount of dollars by the time I do my 20th shoot. And so having those goals and writing them down, I think is very important when you're trying to figure out what you're trying to do, figure out who you are. And then I think once you reach some of those goals, it does something to your outlook on yourself. And I think that once you attain some of those, you have that much more confidence to reach the next goal and the next one after that.
I like that. It's practical.
Mhm.
Having goals helps us to focus where we're going, know what the next step is supposed to be, know what questions to ask when we don't know the answers. Very good. Yeah, I like
For
that.
sure.
Thanks, Gabriel.
Of course.
Let's ask that same question now of Christie. Christie, so what is the single most important thing, in your opinion, that a photographer must have to get started in their marketing of their business or a special project that they'd like to work on?
It's a really great question. It's actually a question that I get quite a lot. We always kind of have our network for photographers that are upcoming and try to provide as much support as we can for them as they get comfortable in, freelance. The gig economy is very rough. There's no, you know, step guidebook on how to do it. And if it is, they're all very different. There's no standardized way. But something that is standardized that we have to be very mindful of is our taxes. So if I had to recommend the single most important thing that a photographer must have to get started marketing their business or project is an EIN. So that is kind of like a entity's social security number. If you have an LLC or even a DBA, which stands for doing business as, it allows you to register for an EIN. That allows you to open a separate bank account from your personal. So that way you are keeping your finances separate. It also allows you to basically build something around an entity, right? Doing business as, meaning doing business as something that isn't exactly your first name, right? So if my name is Christie Kaye, I wanted to do business as Christie Kaye, I could keep it that way. But say I wanted to do business as Christie Kaye Photography or even Koasis Media, then I would need something that represents that name. DBA and LLCs are all very different, and that's a topic all in its own. But I do think it's very important that any people who are interested in freelancing and becoming a photographer full time really educate yourself on taxes and business structures because it's going to help you in the long term for sure. Stay out of trouble, avoid penalties, and just feel a little bit, actually, a lot more secure in what you're doing as a career and separates it very much so from a hobby. You can take it a lot more seriously. People take you seriously. And I think it's just a really good first step.
Yeah, I like how you're taking this from the point of view of what really needs to be there before we even begin. There's some foundational things that have to be done. There's a lot of them. What you
Yes.
mentioned, the EIN, is one of those that makes you a legal business. It gives you some freedoms. It also takes away some too, because now you're on the radar and you got to start paying your taxes.
If
And
you
of
want to
course,
take it seriously,
when
right?
someone is just starting off and they just are working with their friends and their family, and they do it once or twice a year, obviously they wouldn't be in that category.
Of
But when they
course.
want to take it seriously, like you said, then we've got to do something. It's partially mindset as well, where we see ourselves now as real. And so this is kind of interesting. I wasn't expecting that as an answer to this question. So thank you for bringing up a different point of view. I knew you guys would be awesome. So thank you,
Thank
Christy.
you.
All right, let's bring on Elizabeth to answer the same question. Elizabeth, what do you feel as a photographer, a portrait photographer who's been doing this for a good while? What is the single most important thing that a photographer must have to get started on a marketing project, either for their business as a whole or something, specific marketing project they might be working on?
Sure. Well, Gabriel kind of stole mine because it definitely is that you need to have the end goal in mind. Are you are you marketing just your business as a whole, trying to get more clients, or are you focusing on a certain, let's say, portraits with Santa? Is that what your goal is? Is your goal to get more people, or is your goal to get higher end people? So that you have to figure out what you want as a goal. I'm working on a project now where my goal is to be get me out of a creative rut. And so my goal for this and the way that I'm going to market it and who I'm going to market it to is different than who I'm doing when I'm trying to market for Santa portraits or I'm trying to market for family portraits, because that's creativity, I'm not really looking at it to make money and to get to the right people who can afford to come and spend money with me. I'm looking at it from it's going to be inspiring me so that I'm out of my creative rut and I get to do something just for me and I don't worry necessarily about what they want. So I think that's very important that you know what your end goal is. And then to have confidence in going forward with your marketing plan, that you are worth it. The money you're going to spend to market and the time you're going to spend to create marketing plan is, is you are worth doing that for. It is not just something that you should haphazardly do. That takes time to sit down and make a plan and then execute the plan. I think many people start to execute a plan before they actually make the steps of the plan. So it is, and as an artist and a creative, lots of us don't have a problem with that whole like steps thing, But for me, that's why I have my husband around, so he can make sure that that I follow the steps that we talk about, and that way that the actual marketing is successful. And we're not scrambling and wasting money that we don't need to be wasting.
That makes a lot of sense. Is Trey good at that?
Well, he's good at keep bringing me down from the clouds when I have these big lofty dreams and goals.
Yeah. What did you say? Okay. I like your energy. I like where you're headed. But how do we actually make this happen?
That is our conversation on the daily. Yes.
I love it. Oh man. All right. So, well, I've got you up here. I'm going to ask you the next question.
Yeah.
Are you getting? See, that's what I wanted to ask everybody else. All right, you guys who are watching, are you getting something out of this discussion already? If so, go to the comments and tell us. You're telling me, you're telling Amanda, you're telling our three panelists. Let us know that you're getting something out of this already. I know it's only one question, but I bet some of you are getting something out of this already. Tell us in the comments. We want to hear about it. All right. Elizabeth, can you share any tips for building a strong personal brand? Something I think you've done very well.
Thank you. Well, we try, but I think that the biggest tip is consistency, to make sure that everything from start to finish in your business tells the same message, sends the same message to your clients or to your potential clients, from the time that they see your website or they call you or email you to get information, to the consultation, to the portrait session. I try to be a step above where I mean, always. So I'm always trying to be a step above where I was last year or the year before. And so, not that I'm competing with others, but yet I'm just wanting to be the best that I can be. And so, in every interaction that I have with my clients or potential interaction, um, if people seeing me around or seeing something at a auction or something that my work is at, to the final product that my clients have hanging on their walls, is that I want that to be super consistent, that they can look at that and go, that is an Elizabeth Homan portrait. And, that I'm always nice to people and always compassionate and not just, sometimes, we have days I know that we're not always nice and compassionate, but I do try to put on the face. That the brand that I've created is just kind of a step above, and hopefully that is what I've created because that's what I've been trying. But I think that if you're not consistent, if your price list looks is not doesn't look nice, or your marketing piece just doesn't look like the other marketing pieces that you have out there, then the whole thing is just kind of like, well, who is that? And you can look at other industries and be able to tell that when you look at Tiffany's, you know that it's a Tiffany's because of the blue box and the logo and the way they treat you when you walk in and the price and the quality of the product, and all of that goes hand in hand to have a strong personal brand.
Fantastic. Yeah, you definitely uh, over the years, you've been someone who I've looked to for an example of just those kinds of things and others. In case you guys didn't know, I'm a fan of the Homans. Elizabeth and Trey are some of my favorite photographers. I use them in my classes often, and man, I've had a lot of students over the years. I sure wish I could claim Elizabeth and Trey Homan, but no, I can't.
Thank you.
I would be so proud if I could, though, man. Thank you so much, Elizabeth. All right, let's ask that same question now of, let's see, Gabriel. So, Gabriel, can you share some tips on building a strong personal brand?
For sure. So I know one thing that I did early on when I first started was I compared myself to every single photographer, everybody that I can find. And I looked at their work and I'm like, God, if my pictures can only be that good, if I can only get those colors and, all these things that some of these photographers are just amazing at. So a goal or a tip that I would say is don't compare yourself to every single photographer that you see. Definitely gain inspiration from them, and you begin to get your brand, you begin to get your style in that way. But I think when you compare yourself, you kind of kill your joy, the joy that you had when you bought your first camera, when you got that nifty 50, that 1.8, and you got that bokeh in your pictures. You're like, yes, I made it. But I think not comparing yourself to every photographer, because maybe they've been putting in 30 years of work like Elizabeth has, and it just didn't happen overnight for them. So it won't happen overnight for you as well. So don't give up. Keep on pushing. Keep on, bettering yourself. Learn new skills. Network with other photographers, but definitely try your best not to compare yourself to every single photographer that's out there.
That's good advice. We do that. I think as creatives, we do that.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a human thing, but certainly as creatives, we enjoy looking at what other people are
For
doing
sure.
in every aspect
course.
of it. We like looking at their website, how they designed it. We
Mhm.
like looking at their price list. How much do they
Yeah.
charge? And we compare. Are we as good as them? Are we not quite as good
Yeah.
as them? And we make decisions based off of that. And
Yeah.
I would say comparison is a curiosity,
Of course.
but it shouldn't be so much of an influence, and you brought that up, so I'm glad you did.
Of course.
Yeah. Thank you. All
Yeah.
right, let's ask that same question now of Christie. So, Christie, what's your opinion here? Can you share some tips for building a strong personal brand?
Absolutely. It's kind of interesting being in the digital era where we've now navigated from long format videos to short consumption. I think the blooming of social media management, marketing, and social media as a whole is quite interesting. To me, it's very fascinating that it's evolved, and it's evolved so much, just like technology in the past, even 5 to 10 years, even further than that. And so when it comes to building a strong personal brand, I think a lot of people kind of get caught up in the aesthetic and the images. I think that's even me coming from a personal experience when we first started Koasis and we're marketing ourselves as a media production company or a media collective, and it needs to represent all of these different things. And it means so much to us. How do you design to that? How do you communicate how you feel about something? Digitally, and how do you communicate that effectively? And that's very, very difficult to do. And just like Elizabeth and Gabriel mentioned, it doesn't happen overnight. Everyone starts somewhere and then within a year finds themselves either in a different niche or a different medium, especially in the creative industry, because what we love the most as artists is being able to create. And a lot of times that's not narrowed down to one medium like photography. I think to build a strong personal brand, it does take consistency. It takes a lot of engagement and networking, a lot of feedback, right? Like you can continue to broadcast and tell, but if you're not getting feedback and recommendations or taking even constructive criticism, I mean, that's the whole basis of marketing is um, is analytics. And there's more to that, obviously, but I could address it some other time. Um, I think at the end of the day, you have to make sure that everything that you're doing feels like it's coming from the heart. I'm a very heart-driven person. I wear a lot of my feelings on my sleeve because I care so much about a lot of things that I do and what they mean for other people. And so, what I try to do when it comes to whether it's a personal brand, whether it's a larger brand, like an actual entity, whether you're even creating images for a company, right? I think a lot of times portrait photography can get narrowed down to the family portraits, to the, engagement photos, like the all of this very wholesome, beautiful photography. But in my space of Koasis Media, we do a lot of commercial work. And so we try to make sure we support the people that we believe in. We try to make sure it aligns with our values and try to make sure that everything we create comes from that standpoint. And I think once I started concentrating on that aspect, for me personally, it all just kind of fell into place. So yes to Elizabeth and yes to Gabriel. I feel like this is my perspective on how to build a strong personal brand.
I like that you said that it needs to come from the heart. It needs to be us. This is a small business. It's us. Generally speaking, I guess there are some large photography businesses, but that's not who this market, this show is talking to. We're talking to the mom and pops, the small businesses that generally don't even have it one employee, and but maybe do it, but it's a small number. It's a micro business, and our business has to be something that we believe in, something that when we get up every single morning, we're excited about. So
Exactly.
yeah, coming from the heart.
Thank you.
I like that. Thank you, Christy.
Mhm.
Now, I'm going to ask you the next question
You got
since I've got you here. The next question is, what methods have you found to be most effective for reaching and engaging with potential clients?
I love this question. I love this question a lot because it has a lot of layers. So, methods in terms of communication is super diverse, obviously. And to cut straight to the point, for us, is definitely the power of word of mouth. It's interesting to be able to network and have conversations with people who are different industries because you start to see the alignment between how they market to how a creative industry marks. At the end of the day, it's still um, we're still a service provider, right? And whomever the consumer is or customer, we manufacture things for them, right? It's no different than if I'm making peach jams in jars or if I'm creating photography and digital assets to sell. We're still creating something. And I think that when you are very upfront, going back to like building personal brand and all the questions that we've answered before. And you've really been able to build something that's unique to you, that is unique to people who maybe in your industry don't usually experience, whether that's the way they are communicated to, whether that's the product in itself, the culture, the process, so on and so forth. Again, this could be anything, right? Because we're all very different in how we approach our business, even though we all come from the service industry. It is very difficult to replace good service, right? There's a ton of photographers and videographers and graphic designers out there. And the one thing that people forget is that, like, sure, yes, this is a saturated market, but it's still a people business, right? You still have to talk and communicate to people on an everyday basis. As an introvert, that's kind of difficult. So, what I've actually been really appreciative for in my business, I have two other business partners. One of them being Darren Abate. He is a super talented photojournalist, editor, colorist, DP, whatever it is. He is amazing. And then Noel Hernandez, which is also a phenomenal creator, photographer, learned sound engineering for us. They're amazing. And we really had to combine our networks when we first got started. So we developed first through word of mouth. From there, we built our own network. And word of mouth then became referrals. And so we started getting even more referrals. From there, we just continue to lead by example. And it's not till, we've been in business for a little over 2 years now that we're starting to really tap into the digital market and tap into the networks that we've built and trying to stay in communication. So all of those have been super fruitful. But yes, don't ever underestimate the power of word of mouth. It's phenomenal. It's the power of the people.
There you go. That's perfect. And you're right. When you say word of mouth, it always and anytime someone says word of mouth, it reminds me of a short story. My mother asked me years ago. She's now a retired school teacher, but she was asking how the business was going, and I commented about, I don't know, something about ad sales and how it just seemed like it was too expensive. And coming from a public school teacher who doesn't have any understanding of how a business works. I mean, on the surface, everybody does, but
Right.
until you have a business of your own, you don't have a clue. Just like if we've never been a public school teacher, we don't have a clue as to what they do.
Exactly.
But she said, "Why are you even spending money on ads? Word of mouth advertising is the best."
I love her. It's still so powerful. It's
Right.
truly still so powerful. That's amazing.
Uh, Thank you, Christy. All right, let's ask that same question. And by the way, before I ask the next person, is what you're hearing so far today, is this resonating with you? Are you getting something? Tell us in the comments. That comment section is there so that you'll put something there. Don't remain anonymous. Put something there. By the way, if you haven't let me know that you're here by clicking on that streamyard.com/Facebook link, it'll say Facebook user. So yeah, you're remaining anonymous, but engage. Let our panelists know that you like what it is that they're saying. You're getting something out of it. If this is resonating with you, say something in the just how about comment yes, as simple as that. I'm not even asking very much. I want to know that you're here. I want to know that you're engaging. Put something in that comment section, as simple as the word yes. But if you want to go one step further, each time one of the panelists says something that you like or agree with, say it. Let them know. They can't possibly read your minds, guys. Let them know in the comments. Let's see some engagement in the comments. Say thank you. Say I appreciate it. Say I didn't think about that, or that you said that in a way I hadn't thought about it before. Let us know in the comments. That's what it's there for. All right, so let's get back to our question, and this is going to Elizabeth. Elizabeth, what methods have you found to be the most effective for reaching and engaging with your potential clients?
Well, absolutely. 95% of my clientele comes from referrals from current or previous clients. And being that I've been around for so long. They keep coming back. I have, children or moms that I photographed their babies, and now their babies are high school seniors, or maybe they're having babies, or they're getting married and having babies. I mean, it's just crazy the way it works. But that is so exciting to me that I've been able to um, not just make them happy once, but keep them coming back. And so I think that one of the important things that we do that makes us keeps us engaged with our current clients, which allows them then to spread the news about us, is that we have newsletters that we do to keep them up to date with what's happening. Where am I traveling next that they can join me? What kind of events are we holding? What kind of things are happening in our lives? And we reach out to our clients often by emails, but also through social media. And also for the past 30 years, we have done a physical newsletter that we mail to our current clients, plus potential clients that we have. So those things, I think, I don't want to spend too long on it because Christy said it so well. But I feel like this is just in addition to that. It's not just that you make these people happy one time, is that you keep them coming back for more. And the only way to do that is to continually be around so that they don't forget about you, because it is a very saturated market out there. So we have to keep saying, hey, I'm over here and I'm here and I still want your business. I'm still doing the work. And so I think that those go hand in hand to having word of mouth.
You're so right. I mean, even after a good experience, someone says, "Man, I love you. This is the most fun, the best experience." Any of these positive things that will make us as photographers feel fantastic. That person who you think is never going to forget about you is going to forget about you unless you do something active to cause them to continue to think about you, keep your name in front of mind. And so your newsletter, that's a good way to do that.
Yeah.
That's really good. And you don't see those as much anymore, especially you said yours is a physical newsletter.
It is.
You're mailing this out?
Yes. Well, we do a physical newsletter 3 times a year. So
Okay.
it's not, it's not once a month. And then I do a digital newsletter once a month. And then I have a supplemental in between. So every 2 weeks or so, they get communication from me. And then I have a private Facebook group for just my clients who have been my clients, where I will share anything that's happening before it ever goes out to the public. And so I don't know, those three things have helped me keep in touch. Some people are digital consumers, and some people like the whole old-fashioned, piece of paper that they can put up on their fridge to remind them that they need to do it. And people tell me that they do that. They've been holding on to this newsletter all year long, and so it works for us, and so we just continue to do it until it doesn't work anymore.
Totally makes sense. Totally agree with that. Thank you for sharing that too. All right, but let's ask that same question now of Gabriel. Gabriel. Oh, that's Amanda. Sorry. Sorry, Amanda. I meant to click on Gabriel. All right, so
Well, at least we know she's still here.
Yeah. I haven't made that particular mistake before. Sorry.
It's all good.
Amanda.
I do live stream at my church, so I do it all the time.
That's funny. So let's see. What methods have you found to be most effective for reaching and engaging with potential clients?
Well, I'm going to go ahead and round this question off with word of mouth. It's true. It is so true. In the beginning, I didn't know I was doing word of mouth, but I was literally just telling anybody and everybody that I could that I'm a photographer now and I'm offering these services. And so what I saw was I was doing it for family, I was doing it for friends, and then I started getting calls and texts from friends of friends. And I'm like, wait a second, like this is getting wild. And that's really why I started my photography business over 10 years ago, was because I wasn't just doing it, to help friends and family out. Now I was doing it for strangers that I didn't know, because they loved my work. And so I think that's still true today to my creative agency. We go to networking events all over San Antonio, sometimes over Texas. And we just tap into different markets, but we also tap into different creatives, and we see what's working for them, and we hear how they're doing, and kind of like some of these trends that are happening. And I think when we do that, we begin to be our own word of mouth for our business and for our work. And also, I think if you go above and beyond for your clients, for these potential clients, and offering them things, especially in the beginning, that it's going to be something they weren't expecting. So what I started doing early on was I had my first camera was the 60D, Canon 60D. And it was not just a photography camera, but it did video, and it did video very well. So in between shots, I was taking small clips of the families or the bride, whatever I was shooting. And I ended up making a small, like 30 to 45-second video. There was no Reels then, there was no Instagram then, but I would make a video and I would put it on a flash drive or a CD, and I would give it to them. I said, hey, look, my camera does video. I just wanted to give this to you guys so you can remember this moment forever in video form, as well as portraits. And so going above and beyond, I think, is something you can add to that word of mouth in the beginning when you're just starting out your business.
Those are some good ideas. Yeah, sharing just a little bit extra, things that others could have done but aren't doing.
Yeah.
So
for
therefore,
sure.
you're causing that person who's receiving that to think, well, he's thinking about me. He's thinking about what I might want, and he's able to create these things. And so, yeah, man, that's good stuff. Thank you, Gabriel.
For sure.
All right. So since I have you on, I'm going to ask you the next question. So bring that on. What marketing tools and services can a photographer use to help them with marketing?
For sure. So going back to when I first started, there wasn't Instagram. It was Facebook. Facebook was one of the biggest, if not the only platform that you would share your work with the world. Now we do have things like Instagram. And so I would say definitely tap into some of those things. A lot of photographers these days are creating reels, either with their photos or in a video form. And so I think that is probably the best tool that a photographer can use. Of course, social media across the board, but Instagram being mainly photo, now video. Tapping into that, it doesn't cost you anything to put your photos out there and start just blasting and casting those nets across Instagram, and of course Facebook, Twitter, and we do a lot of marketing on LinkedIn as well, because we do business to business, business to organizations as well. But yeah, definitely be using Instagram. Of course, you can take it a step further, and you can do some of those ads like your mom was telling you. Why are you doing those? But I think you could create a simple ad, and you're spending what, $50 maybe on Whataburger a month. Put $50 on one of your ads. Create a slideshow of some of your wedding photographs that you've done, the past couple months. Put those on an ad. Throw $50 to it. If you get one client, I am sure that's going to pay for itself. So using these digital tools that we have in our literally palm of our hand that I didn't have when I first started, I think is definitely something that you can be using to help yourself right away with marketing.
Perfect. Yeah, thank you for that, Gabriel. Good
sure.
stuff. Instagram, Facebook, Reels, other little things,
TikTok.
putting a little bit of money toward. Yeah, that's all good stuff. Thank you. All right, let's ask that same question now of Christie. Christie, can you give us some ideas on what marketing tools or marketing services that a photographer might use to help with their marketing?
Yeah, sure thing. I think the tools part is the one that's most exciting to me. I remember using Canva when I was like doing presentations in school still, and now looking back at how much that platform has evolved, it's actually quite amazing. So Canva it started off as kind of like a graphic design tool. It had a lot of pre-templated designs that people could upload and share. And now it's involved animation. It has different ratios for whatever social media posts or just assets in general, digital assets that you're wanting to create. Bunch of pre-templates. You can create your own like brand book in there and be able to utilize a lot of your branded material. In other words, it's just a really amazing design tool that doesn't involve having to pay for the entire Adobe Creative Cloud suite. If you're only using like Lightroom or Photoshop, it's really great. There is like a pro version, which I think is like maybe $10 a month. I don't know if it's gone up since I've last checked, but highly recommend it. You can even do like video editing in there. I like to create I do this a lot more for clients than I do for myself. I tell myself every time that I'm going to stop doing that, but that it should be equal because I have to market Koasis too. But you know, it gets hard sometimes. Vertical video is kind of the wave right now. Not kind of, it actually is really the wave right now. Reels and algorithms have far more reach than static images has in some times. If you are a videographer and one that's traditionally trained, I'm sorry in advance. I know we've all been dreading it, but it's here and it's now. So I actually want to give a shout out to Jael Thompson from Symbio Hush. When we first met, he actually introduced me a platform called InShot. It is a paid video editing software for your phone, but I still use it to this day. And that platform, just like Canva, is a lot more robust. It has effects, it has transitions, animations. You could add pips, which is picture in picture, stickers. Like it's just those two, Canva and InShot, are by far my favorite tools to create versatile content for marketing myself or even my clients when I need something really quick. Otherwise, I'm having to use DaVinci Resolve, Adobe Illustrator, but those are really great, like pro consumer first steps into just kind of creating stuff on the go. Other than that, social media platforms, thankfully, like Facebook and now Instagram, if you log in through your desktop, are allowing post-schedule posting. So at this point, I think social media is starting to realize that the third-party distributors are making a little bit too much money and are wanting to keep things on their platform. So that's also very interesting and free, thankfully. So I think that's kind of everything in a nutshell in terms of tools and services to help market yourself.
Very cool. Yeah, I like using Canva. In fact, all of the show graphics that we do for Portrait Profits are done on Canva.
There you
And
go.
InShot is another great tool that I was introduced to that, I think about 3 years ago. No, it's probably more than that, maybe 5. Um, it feels like a real short period ago, but when I say 3, I'm thinking, well, that's just barely before COVID. So so it was a little bit more before that. But yeah, it's a really easy tool to use. It's right there. You download it as an app on your cell phone, and you use it, and
Just get
it's very
creative. Yeah, it's
inexpensive,
great.
just like Canva, very inexpensive, and does a more than satisfactory job. I mean, there's not really anything to complain about. It's simple and it's made to be simple, so it does exactly what it needs to be, and it has a professional look about it. Assuming you want that look, maybe you want a silly
Yes.
look. So, thank you for that, Christy. All right,
Yeah,
let's
no
ask
problem.
that same question now of Elizabeth. Elizabeth, what marketing tools and services might a photographer use to help them with their marketing?
Um, well, Canva, of course, we don't need to go through that again. But before Canva, or before I knew about Canva, there was a website called Squeegee that I became a member of for $5 a month. And you can get access to every single one of their templates. So they have Christmas card templates and marketing pieces and digital collages and album templates and then just design elements and a whole lot of things. It's all specifically made for photographers. And I usually try to start with one of those when I'm getting ready to create some sort of marketing piece. And it helps me just start the creative process of having, instead of just a blank piece of paper in Photoshop, I can pull that in and have some elements, change it around, because I never want to keep it exactly the same, because there's lots of people who can't have a squeegee. And so I don't want mine to look like the person next door, so I change it up. But it's a great place to start. So I love using that. And then just to kind of step off the social media for a minute and go into printed material. There's a company called Marathon Press that's been around for a very long time, and they do some marketing cards, like a campaign that you can, let's say it's for seniors, and they have cards that are pre-made that have like 3 or 4 different types of cards that all coordinate well. So you send one out one month, the second one the second month, the third month is a different one, but they all coordinate and they have different images, maybe different offers. You get to pick the words that you put on them. You can either use the images that they have. So if you don't have the images quite yet that you feel like super proud of, you could just use their images, but you can also add your own in there. And then they print them and mail them all for you so that you don't have to do all the thinking. So I know early on when we were, in business, that we used Marathon Press a lot to help us figure it all out. And they do a great job, and they're just very, very highly thought of. And the quality of the product is lovely as well. And they have campaigns for all different things. So you just go and check out their website, and you can see all that. But they also do anything customized that you want as well. So if you want some really cool customized marketing piece to mail, then that's a good place to go. And they can do anything that you want. So I think those 2 things are things that I use that maybe others hadn't heard of yet.
That's one I wasn't expecting, but Marathon Press is a good one. They've got a lot of services that help us make things just a little bit easier. So taking advantage of tools like that and Canva, good suggestions. Thanks, Elizabeth.
Mhm.
All right. So I'm going to ask you the next question. And you guys, before I do, every single time you hear something you like, click that like button. Now, I know if you're watching on a desktop, it only allows you to do it once. But if you're on your cell phone, you can click like 100 times. Get that like count up. I want to see that number higher. It shows me whichever is which Facebook page or group page has the most, and the most on any one of them is 15. So I think you guys are hearing a lot more good things than just 15. So click that like button, hit that love button multiple times. Let our panelists know that you love what it is that they're sharing with you. All right. So the next question for you, Elizabeth, is, let's see, how do you stay up to date with the latest marketing trends and techniques?
Well, this is pretty easy for me, because I am a big proponent of continuing education. As some of you, I know Jim knows that I was the president of Professional Photographers of San Antonio like 20 something years ago, plus that I was just president again last year. And I feel like if you really want to be a professional, that's a great organization that continually has speakers every month that come to give you nuggets of information that you can take home. Not always is about marketing, but sometimes it's Photoshop, sometimes it's lighting. But the fact is that if you just keep educating yourself, you will get these latest trends, whether it be marketing or photography. And also, there's a Texas Professional Photographers of America, or a Texas Professional Photographers Association. And then there's the Professional Photographers of America, which just came off of Imaging USA, which is 3 days with a ginormous trade show, lots of speakers, about 10,000 photographers. And so, man, you can go in there and learn so much that your head is exploding. And so, some people, when they get to be in this industry for so long, they go, oh, I know everything and I don't need to learn anymore. And that could not be further from the truth. So I can tell you that if you are not adapting and changing your marketing, your photography, the way you do business, if you're not continually changing that, you will be left in the dust. You will have no more business. So it is super important to keep educating yourself, to keep seeing what other people are doing, not for comparison's sake, but for inspiration to go to the next level, or just to do something different. And then to look outside the photography industry, because us photographers are not always the best marketers. Some of us are really terrible at it, and but there are awesome marketers out there in different industries. So I just love like listening to people who are in marketing, but in something different besides photography, and we can learn a lot from them.
Yeah, a lot of good stuff there. And of course, I would agree with every a bit of that. So there's a lot of good tools that are available within what we're doing. There's a lot of good tools that are available that have nothing to do with photography that we can reach outside of what we do. But there are so many good options, so many good things that are available to us within our own industry, that there's no way that we could consume all of it alone. In fact, every once in a while, I'm confused by someone who says there's just not it seems like there's just no information out there about how a photographer makes it in photography. There is an abundance of this, and it's really easy to seek out, but you do have to seek it out. It doesn't just land in your lap saying, brilliant idea. All you have to do is press here and it just works. Okay. Yeah. We don't have that, but there is an abundance of information, and PPSA, PPA, TPPA are just a handful of, but those are really good ones. Just a handful of those available out there. There's so much available, and very geared to what it is that we're looking for. Thank you for bringing those up, Elizabeth.
Absolutely.
All right, let's ask that same question now. And you guys, if this is helping, if you're hearing things that you're helping in the comments, right? It's helping. Let me know that that's something that you're hearing here today that is beneficial. Just right, it's helping. Now you may write specifically what it is that's helping, but in the comments, let us know that it's helping. That what you're hearing here today is benefiting you, or it has at least the potential to. It's helping is really all I need, just to know that you are getting something from this today. And so, uh, let me bring that question back up. How do you stay up to date with the latest marketing trends? And that question is now going over to Gabriel. So, Gabriel, how do you stay up to date?
Well, for sure, this is helping me. I love hearing from my fellow panelists. It's good to hear from Christie and Elizabeth on their point of views on these things, and I think I can agree with them on everything so far. But for me, it's something I don't think I would have said maybe 5 years ago was TikTok, TikTok, YouTube, Instagram. I'm on social media. I see these trends. They call them trends on these socials, and I kind of see what's working, what's not. I see businesses that are putting marketing ads out there, and it works for them because I look at their stocks, I look at their growth and their business, and I look at their marketing campaigns that they do with certain agencies, and some of these agencies have case studies on their websites to let you know what they did, how they did it, and the engagement and that it got their clients. Another thing I do is most of my team are very young, way younger than I am, and I talk to them and I ask them. I literally was just talking to Benji here that's with me today, and I'm like, what do you do? And so I have to talk to them because I have a family, I'm married, I'm not always on socials, but sometimes I spend time with them, and I just don't have time. So I talk to them. They're the ones that are out there creating, doing these things, and I'm like, I tell them what's working for you guys. What are you seeing? And that's kind of how I get, my answers on what's trending and what's happening. I just talk to people who are doing it, who are in it. And that really helps me out a lot.
Perfect. Thank you. And I think all of us can relate to that. Uh, you don't have all the time that you used to, and when you used to, you didn't realize you had all the time.
Of course, of course, yeah. And there's tons of YouTubers that will have done photography for years, X amount of years, and they've been successful at it. And a lot of them are just giving these free tips on YouTube every day. You just literally can look it up, and you're gonna find a list of photographers that are giving these tips on how to get more shoots, how to get paid shoots, how to sell prints, and just how to grow as a business.
Yeah, nice. Thank you for sharing those.
For
I
sure.
appreciate it, Gabriel. Let's ask that same question now of Christie. So, Christie, how do you stay up to date with all the different things that are going on, the changes, the trends, the techniques? How do you keep up with it all?
That's a really great question. And I think both Elizabeth and Gabriel answered it quite well. It does take a lot of research. I really like the concept of applied learning. I'm also a very hands on learner. I like to test things. And I think that's one thing that a lot of people are afraid to do, is to just test their strategies. Yes, there is, a lot of content online, lots on in articles and books, but there's not one size fit all strategy to do marketing. And sometimes trends don't apply to you, and sometimes techniques don't work. So everyone, has like a very unique formula to how they market, because everyone's targeted audience is very different, because we're all very diverse people and poly-sided, and we have different interests, and even the way that we speak and do things, like all of that ties in very much so to our target audience. So doing the research, yes, 100%. Doing the experimenting, the testing, the A/B testing, do my audience respond better to this? Does my audience respond better to that? Does this type of content get more reach? Does this type of content get more engagement? And why? I think a lot of times when I do research specifically for marketing, is a lot of psychology that goes behind it, and really just understanding who you're trying to talk to, or who are you already talking to, and how do you diversify that niche if it's too niche, or if you're wanting to expand into different audiences. It just takes a lot of testing. That's why with marketing, there's a very strong hold in the analytics and the numbers, because that is a way to gauge whether or not a marketing trend or technique works for you. At the end of the day, my kind of rule of thumb when I look at things and learn from, marketing funnels and sales and content online, is to kind of like don't read at the surface value, like when it comes to looking at different industries and how they market the content online, like try to figure out why would you think it worked for them, and if it makes sense, if it'll work for you too. And then that's when you start testing. A lot of it's super intriguing and interesting. I really, really, really love looking at other industries and how they market, because that's all it's all perspective, and they might try something that maybe hasn't been tried or successfully done in your industry, and you get to creatively think and problem solve on to see, like, again, goes back to testing, if it works for you or not. And then you pivot. That's the great thing about it, is that you can continue to pivot. There's no right or wrong way to do anything, as long as you're not harming anyone and staying true to yourself. And that's kind of my take on it. Like, trends and techniques, they come and go. So continue to test and see what works for you.
That's perfect. And it's perfect. And it brings us to our next question. So, how do you measure the results of the success of your marketing efforts?
Yes. So there's a different approaches to this, right? Because marketing efforts implies that there is something you're trying to achieve. Most marketing campaigns are driven by a call to action, driven through a certain time frame. But overall, like, again, those are marketing efforts. So measurements of success can be different. It could be reach, it could be engagement. For me personally, what I measure for success is more so just kind of the end product of what I'm providing. Kind of goes back to the more of the service provider and being a person that likes to serve and bring visions to life for other people. I think kind of like the proof is in the pudding. If you're confident in what you do, you believe in it, other people believe in it, it's a service that's very hard to replace because you continue to give good results, or come in clutch at the end of the day, and give that little extra. All of these things that we've talked about up until now, I feel play into the measure of success for your marketing efforts, because in order to even find that person that aligned with your values, that believes in what you do, that sees the world similarly to how you are, these like-minded individuals, you were able to market to them, whether that is intentionally or unintentionally. Marketing is just the ability to construe and build perception around something. You were able to do that. You were able to connect to someone that's like-minded and believes the same thing as you. So just being able to make those connections is I think success all in its own. The end goal is to build a network and to help others and bring people's visions to life. And then, of course, when it comes more to like CTA-driven things, of course, you would have to go ahead and just see if you're hitting those goals, or at least increasing or moving the needle, because I think that's success on its own into whatever you're trying to achieve. That's more followers, more clicks to a website, more engagement, more community building. One of the things that we try to do and kind of center a lot of our verbiage and branding around is really challenging the term return on investment for return on impact. And I think that alone has connected us to some really amazing organizations that truly believe in helping the community and are passionate about what they do in their medium, and just really want to provide services, insight, or whatever it may be to the community that they're trying to support. So to me, that's all a long-winded way of explaining that question, but thank you.
That's good. Because it gives us a few different ways of looking at this same thing, that it's not just cut and dry. It's not 2 + 2 = 4.
Right.
There's more to it. It's like the difference between solid black and solid white and all the shades of gray in
Yes.
between. There's just a lot more to it, and it doesn't. If you see it as one tone and someone else sees it as another, both of you could be right. But there's more to it than that. So yeah, thank you for sharing those different variables that we should be considering.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. All right, let's ask that same question now of Elizabeth. Elizabeth, can you share with us how you might measure the success of your marketing efforts?
Well, I think Christy said it very well. I'll just add a few things. Personally, that may be different than her, is um, that again, you have to feel what is your goal of this marketing campaign or something that you're doing. So, is the goal to get, one client, two clients, and then are the clients that you get from it, are they the right clients? Because sometimes just having bodies are not the right bodies. The message that you sent wasn't clear enough, maybe, to be your ideal client, which is what we're looking for when I'm doing, some kind of marketing campaign. Is that I don't just want people. I want people who love what I do and will become repeat clients over and over again. I'm not looking for the one-off person. I want them to become addicted to my photography and have to have it on a regular basis. And so, I'm usually not looking at big numbers. And so for me, it's a very small amount of people that makes it successful. If I get one, two, three, depending on what I'm doing, sometimes where I'm just doing the happy dance that I got one person in. And so, yeah, I think that she answered, she said most, and I don't need to add any more.
I love that. Get clients addicted. It's perfect, and it makes sense. You want them coming back for more. You don't want onesies. That's not what we're trying to accomplish here. Now, I guess if you're photographing weddings, and you do only weddings, your goal isn't to get people to come back multiple times per year.
Although that could have happened.
Yeah. That reminds me, years ago, I was I was on a show kind of like you. I don't remember which one it was that this one happened on. I think it was the Channel 5 morning show. And the question was, can a wedding vendor, and I actually hated this topic, but when they ask you to come on, you just go. And so the question was, can a wedding vendor tell whether a marriage is going to last? What a terrible topic.
It's terrible, but yes, sometimes we can tell when they won't last.
Oh man. So the people who went first took all of the time, and I was last. Well, actually, I was fourth of 5 who were answering this question. There was a florist after me, but I played off of what someone else said and was just silly with the answer. I said, yeah, based on what you guys are talking about, I might come up with a new marketing effort on how to get repeat business for my clients who have not experienced a good wedding, but still want to come back and work with me. It was a little bit more silly than that, but without the context, I really can't get to the specific of it.
Yeah.
But that's about all the time I had. They gave me like 15 seconds. Oh man. All right. Thank you so much for making sure that we know we need to get our clients addicted to what it is that we do. Thanks, Elizabeth. All right, let's ask that same question now of Gabriel. Gabriel, how are you measuring the success of those marketing efforts that you're doing?
This is a great question. I think, the easy short answer that a lot of people are looking for is, did it make me money, right? And so I think, of course, that's a great measure of if something worked. But sometimes we get lucky as well, right? So I think for me, I look at the value. Did I bring value to my client? Did I bring value to the person that hired me? But also, did it bring me value? Did it bring my business value? How did it make me feel at the end of the day? Now, I know a lot of us first starting off in photography, we don't make tons of money. Sometimes we don't make any money. Actually, you know what? We don't make any money. And so I think if we're able to do these marketing campaigns, or we try something new, did it bring our clients value? And if it did, then that is a success, I think, to me, in my book. And you do it again. And the next time you charge a little bit more, and then you charge more on top of that. And so the value that you're bringing the client is reflecting in your finances and in your business. And so I think if it brings you value and it brings your clients value, to me, that's a win, and that's success in my eyes.
Does it? Yeah, I like that. Yeah, I mean, it definitely comes down to that. So thank you for sharing it. I appreciate it, Gabriel.
Of course.
All right, so I'm going to ask you the next question. And you guys, if you like what you're hearing, click that like button, click that love button. If they say something funny, click the silly button, the happy face. So whatever's appropriate, I want to see those likes and those loves.
For sure.
All right, so how do you determine or allocate your marketing budget, and all the while maximizing your ROI of your marketing efforts?
Yeah, so this is definitely a question that I think that I had. Like, I was like, wow, this is a great question. How do we do this? And so I think for me, there's a certain percentage that is kind of standard. A lot of people say, put your 20%, put 30%, at least put, there's different numbers out there in marketing. But I think for everyone, it's different, especially when you're first starting out. You're bootstrapping, right, to try to figure out how to get your name out there, and you want to pay for these ads, and things like that are some of the things that Elizabeth was talking about, as well as these hard copy, prints. They all cost money. And so I think for me, it kind of goes back to how can we create some of these marketing campaigns that don't really cost us a lot of money, like some of these Instagram, reels like we have today. Doing that and creating it and doing it very consistent. I think we talked about this earlier, where Elizabeth was talking about being consistent at what you're doing and doing it over and over and over again. And so also, something we use at my agency is we do a lot of data analysis, and we look at the money we put into a marketing campaign and what we got in return. And we look at this, and we look at this across the board in different markets as well. And we see what worked, what didn't work, what made us money, what we didn't make money on. And we kind of take that data, and it sets us up for the next market that we're trying to tap into, or the next trend that we're trying to do in the current market that we're in. And so I think if you're able to learn a lot about data, they say data is worth more than gold these days, and I truly believe that. If you're good at looking at your analysis, even simple on your Instagram, as simple as that, and seeing where your engagement is, and seeing what sales you got out of the reach that you did, is really good. So getting really good at getting this data, and also interpreting this data, and there's people out there that will help you in these areas.
Sure. Who's going to help?
Well, there's tons of people. So I'll tell you right now, where I'm here at Geekdom, at my office. If you don't know, a lot of people don't know what Geekdom is. It's a co-working space, and basically it's built up of tons of startups that are just like you, starting up, and we help each other, and we do it for $0 most of the time, because we're in the same boat, and a lot of people have expertise in these things, and I've gotten so much free help that I wouldn't be here without some of the people that actually took the time out of their schedule to have talks with me about how to do these things and how to help with this data analysis. So networking, you got to network.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Totally agree with the networking.
for sure. You have to network.
It makes a huge difference. Yeah.
Yes, it does.
All right. Well, thank you for answering that question, Gabriel. I'm going to ask
sir.
that same question now of Christie. Let's see. Christie, can you help me to go through this process, or what's the mindset I need? But how do you determine, how do you allocate your marketing budget while maximizing return on investment of those marketing efforts?
It's a really great question. Kind of going back to what Gabriel said, a lot of businesses are just starting off. So having a budget to spend on print materials or even ad spend there's no number to it yet, right? You still have to build, and you're probably spending your own money investing your equipment, so on and so forth. I know that at least on Koasis' side, the first thing that we started to do was just figuring out what marketing can we do without having to incur costs. So as a media production company, that means content. From there, it's more so just evaluating where time would go. So, for example, one of the things that I thought was super important when it came to just like not even just marketing, but operations in general, was to be transparent. That's one of the things that we always say and advocate for the creative industry to be upfront about, be transparent about processes. Like, we are a lot more aligned than we think. And I think that there is beauty in standardization. I feel like it allows us to kind of fall into a routine. That's one thing I feel like the creative industry has always kind of struggled with, because there's no standard way to do it. So we lead with transparency. We invested a lot of time into our current website, to the point where we developed media catalogs with transparent descriptions and pricing of what entails for like a beginning starting service. And that's not just for photography, but for our special occasion type photography, our videography, graphic design, and so on and so forth. We plan on doing that with all of our services. But again, it goes back to time. I think for people who do have the budget, not saying that you always have to spend money to do things, right? If you have a brick and mortar, we're very fortunate. We have a office space here at the Fine Silver Building. It's a 2,200 square foot studio / office. So we do a lot of our content creation here. We have desks for everyone. So we're able to provide those resources, going back to trying to give back to the creative community that we support. But we could do a better job at utilizing this space to build community. We don't have to pay for a venue. It could be something a little bit more casual, but those are all tactics towards marketing. I feel like a lot of people forget about the traditional aspect of marketing. And that's why I'm so excited to hear Elizabeth's answer to this question, because it's definitely something I've always loved and grew up on. Both my parents were small business owners. My mom was a realtor. So like print material type marketing was a really big thing that she did. And she was also really big on making pancit, which is like a Filipino noodle. She would cook a bunch. She'd go to offices. She would drop off all of that. I can't wait till we get to a point where I can make Valentine's cards for my clients and like devote that time. So really, that's something I really want to get into. But I think when it comes to budgeting, like it's a trial and error. Like no one knows, particularly if they need more traditional marketing based off of their target audience or digital marketing. It's again going back to let's test out what works, what people respond to. Let's maybe start with a 50-50 budget, right? Even if it's something small, say it's like $500. Okay, we've allocated this for marketing because that's what we could afford as a small business. Let's spend $250 on digital, knowing that we're going to provide resources ourselves. And thankfully, this community is filled with mostly photographers, so content is everywhere. And you can repurpose a lot of content. Don't forget about that. So $250 to just maybe distributing it, and then maybe another $250 for like traditional marketing. And then from there, you can kind of adjust. Like, okay, $250 for a small event venue, or maybe we did a photo meetup at a park and had to pay for licensing, whatever it may be, or for drinks, right? I built a community, I networked, and from that network, I maybe got one referral. Like that already pays, or maybe 2-3 referrals already pays for that 250 versus the ads. Maybe it started a new client that's a return client. Again, like all of this kind of piles onto each other. It's all through trial and error because you have to figure out what works best for you. But if you are a small business like I am, like we are, since we started in 2020, Koasis as a whole did, then it's kind of just starting with what you can. And a lot of that happens to be time. And eventually, fingers crossed, I get to make sweet Valentine's cards for all my clients. So.
Valentine's cards. Well, I
I know.
guess this is appropriate time as any. That's tomorrow, so happy Valentine's Day, you
Happy
guys.
Valentine's Day, everyone.
Thank you for bringing that up. And great answer. A lot of good ways to think about this, and also thanks for sharing that progression where we may not start off with anything, but we can progress into the things that we want to, assuming that we've defined what our goals are and we know what direction we're heading. So thank
Exactly.
you for
Thank
that.
you.
All right, so let's ask that same question now of Elizabeth. Elizabeth,
On.
so how do you determine, how do you allocate your marketing budget? And of course, you want to maximize your return on investment from those efforts of time and money. So what's your philosophy here? What are you guys doing?
Well, so I mentioned, I mean, they've mentioned a lot of social media. So it looks like I'm probably one of the only ones doing like actual hard printed material that goes out. And we don't do as much as we used to do. But because no photographers have the money or finances or marketing budget to be able to do printed material, we are the only ones that people are getting in the mail. So I know last year my son was a high school senior, and he got 0 things in the mail about senior photography, nothing. And I was the only one who sent him something. And so it's a one way that you can kind of be different than everybody else. Everybody's got a Facebook ad going, but you're the only one sending it to their mailbox. So for us, it goes back to having what the goal is. If I'm going to send out a marketing piece to a certain number of people, and I'm sorry, I don't know the numbers because that's not my job. My husband that could probably spout out all the numbers for you. But if our goal is that we need 10 high school seniors, we might send out stuff to 1,500, 2,000 seniors in the area and hope that we get 10 out of it. But what do we have to have out of it to pay for it is usually 2 or 3, and it pays for all the effort, all the time of me making the marketing piece and the time and the actual hard cost and the mailing cost. I really only need 2 or 3, but I want 10. So and that, that is different than that when I do something for our special events like our Santa portraits. We're looking to get a lot more people in because they're short sessions, so I have plenty of openings. And so we're sending out to more people to get more people in. So yeah, it costs a little bit more, but we end up making it way over. And then we have the things like the newsletter that I mentioned, that we're not really thinking that we're going to get new clients from it, but it is an awareness of future, looking into the future. So we're not just thinking, okay, immediate response. Sometimes it's a long-term response, but doing that has kept the clients that I photographed their wedding 28 years ago still coming to me. And I can tell you, 28 years ago, I was inexpensive and inexperienced. And here I am now, and they still stick with me because I keep reaching out to them and I keep nuancing that relationship. And yes, Christy, you may regret the day that you ever say you want to make Valentine's for them, because we give gifts to what we call our premier clients, which are the ones that basically have come every single year or every other year for 20 plus years. Those are our VIPs. They're the ones that I make the Valentines for, and I send them Tiff's treats, or I invite them to a wine and cheese party. And so those types of things also are marketing, because I'm first of all telling them thank you for being my client. I appreciate you, and I want you to come back. I want you to keep coming back. So those are all marketing efforts. And yeah, I don't like the word budget. I'm just going to say it's not necessary. My husband would say it's not in my vocabulary. So I let him do that part. He just tells me, what can we send? How many can we send it to after we know what our goal is? So I hope that helps.
Definitely. And that is interesting to me, what you were saying about your son, how many senior portrait information pieces he got in the mail, none except for yours. That is such the opposite of what it used to be. You started in the 90s. I started in the 90s. Well, I started full time in the 90s. But I had to send stuff out, because how else are people going to know about me? Now, in 96, I did start my website. And so people did find me on the website and with search engine optimization. We didn't call it search engine optimization, but that existed then. But we did mail outs, and we did them fairly regularly. I could have been better at that, but that was what brought business in to begin with. And then it became word of mouth. It didn't begin as word of mouth, but I remembered my kids, and they graduated not that long ago, got several things in the mail from photographers, and fewer than I would have expected. So that trend was already slowing down, I guess. But in the 90s, all portrait photographers who specialized or did any number of high school seniors, they would be doing a mail out of some sort, at least a postcard.
Yeah, it's crazy. I was stunned that he got nothing. And then I go all out. I mean, I have a pamphlet that goes out. So I get a big response when I send that out. Not
Nice.
all of them end up coming to be clients, because once they get all the information, they may or may not want to afford it. But the fact is that I've got a big response, which is what you're looking for.
Yeah, that's right. Very good. Thanks, Elizabeth.
Yep.
All right. So the next question is, and we're bringing this to a close because it's about 8 now. But I want to bring on Gabriel. Gabriel, I have this is the last question, and I hope it's an easy one, because I want it to kind of. It's been some exciting stuff that we've talked about so far. It's been some things that you really need to stop and think about, that you can't just do right now. You've got to actually do things into the future, or plan some things, make some goals. But this next one is Do you believe in this quote? Best marketer wins. Why or why
I would
not?
say, yeah, I would say 100% yes. I do believe in that quote. I think these days it is about who gets seen the most. And also, there's tons of products that look alike, but a lot of people are looking beyond the product. They're looking what you support. They're looking on how you present your product. Um, Quick little um, campaign or an experiment that I saw a marketing and ad agency do. They went into a neighborhood and they asked everybody in the neighborhood, who is the number one realtor in your neighborhood? Nobody can give them an answer. And so they created a campaign for a fake realtor that didn't exist and handed out flyers and did ads and did all these things in the same neighborhood for about a month. They went back to the next month and they asked the same people, who is the number one realtor here in your neighborhood? Every single one of them said the realtor that didn't exist, the one that they made a fake campaign for. And so that tells me that it's who gets seen. It's who gets seen the most. It's who is doing the most consistent work. And so basically, yeah, I do believe in that. I believe that that is very true. And it's definitely who gets seen the most. And so, yeah, so that was a cool experiment that I saw. And it just really proves the point that who does get seen the most will always win.
There you go. Marketing's important.
Yes, it is.
All right. Thank you for that. And let's ask
course.
this same question now of let's see. Let's ask Christie. So, Christie, the same
Hello.
question to you. Do you believe this quote? I mean, I've heard it a million times. I don't know about you, but best marketer wins. Do you believe that?
I'm gonna sit right in the middle because I'm indecisive. I think that people forget, right, that marketing isn't just about the money. It's not just about the analytics. It's not just about the return on investment. There's a lot of psychology behind it. Like marketing is the ability to alter the public's perception of something, anything, a service, a product. It ties into PR and how whatever's being marketed responds and gets cultivated as for the public's view. Like it's a skill, and it's a very very powerful skill. And if you do it right, yes, you have the ability to tell an entire, going off of Gabe's story, is like you can change the entire perception of a make believe person to a neighborhood like that. That's insane. It's actually kind of scary, right? But at the end of the day, it is marketing, and that is how, and it's a very prominent part of our communications, especially in the digital age, because advertisements are everywhere. They're on billboards, they're on your cars, they're on your clothes. People are walking billboards all in their own. And so when I see the quote, right, best marketer wins, it's more so, right, uh, wins what? If the marketer wins, if the best marketer wins, I hope that the marketer is accomplishing what he wants to do for something that he actually believes in. I think I just want to challenge people into respecting a lot that goes into the marketing and understanding that just like every industry, especially service industries, there is a very big ethical part in it. And at the end of the day, and I think that's something that's been developing in the back end. I can't really quote any specific headlines. I know it had to do with the gas industry, but even marketing agencies are getting the pressure to stop representing these big oil, basically, to move towards a more cleaner environment in the future. Like that's huge, that agencies, marketing people, marketing professionals can basically say, no, I won't represent that industry, and then suddenly they're gone. um Marketing's just, it's very fascinating to me. But anyways, I sit on the borderline of that. I feel like there's a lot more power to it.
Good answer.
Sorry. Thank you.
I feel like I'm one of the other players on Family Feud. Good answer. Good answer.
It's like, I appreciate it. I'm sorry. I know it was may or may not be the right one.
No, it's
but-
perfect. No matter what the answer is for many of the panelists, it's perfect because we want to hear different points of view. If they don't align with ours, that doesn't make us not interested. And I think yours do align. But even if they didn't, I think we would welcome them because we want to see things from other points of view. So thank you for that, Christie.
Thank you, Jim.
Let's ask that same question now of Elizabeth. So, Elizabeth, do you believe in that quote that best marketer wins?
I'm in the middle. Here's my thought. You can be the most amazing photographer that anyone's ever seen in this world, and most amazing artist, and you starve if you don't market. You've got to be seen. You've got to get your word out about you. However, you can be the best marketer in the world, but if you don't deliver, then you won't have repeat clients. So you won't have consistent. You'll just have new people every time coming, and then probably saying not so great things about you. So I think the best business person wins. The best one who's got it all wrapped up in a nice little bow. Somebody who can market it. They have the quality of work, and they know how to have consistent things that we do. I'm totally at a loss for this word, but that we have consistency in our workflow, and that we don't we have a plan of the way that we do business, so that we treat people like they would want to be treated. Just like Christie said several times, that she believes in what she does, and I believe that what I do is important, and I believe that I want to treat people the way I would like to be treated. So it's very important to me that people leave with a good experience and have a product that they love for decades, generations. And so, all of those things together is the thing that makes somebody successful, in my view. So I don't think just because they market well makes them win. I think they have to have it all.
Nice. So I think we all pretty much agree on that one, that marketing is incredibly important, but we can't be resting everything on that one thing. We have to have something that's more like the Parthenon than a diving board. We need more things to be able to support us on making this thing work, which is awesome. Thank you for that, Elizabeth.
Okay.
All right. So how about if you start us on closing this? I want to hear if you've got any last minute thoughts or a summary, maybe what you'd like to share with our viewers before we end this evening.
I hope that would kind of tie into my last thing. That would be my closing thought. Well, first I just want to say to Jim and Amanda for having this podcast / thing, that panel discussion that you guys do. I applaud you, because that is difficult to continue to do. It's great to have the idea, but you have to actually do it. And I appreciate you going the extra mile to educate the photographers of the world, whether they're in San Antonio or surrounding areas. I think that young people tend to want to learn everything by just watching it on YouTube and not interacting. But the interaction is where the relationships come. And so, I know you, Jim. I've never met Christie before tonight, but I really like her. And I had met Gabriel one time, and I really like him. And I think that our industry is so small yet big. I mean, there's so many of us, but yet in the grand scheme of things, we're just a small little tight community, and we need to help each other raise the whole standard of photography and photographers. that you can make a good living off of this, and it is something you should be proud to say that I'm a photographer. Um, and so I think that I appreciate, Jim, all the efforts you've done for so many years with just your education that you've done, and you've just helped the industry grow so much, and we appreciate you.
Aw, that makes me feel good. Thank you, Elizabeth. I appreciate that. But I have to put that right back out at you because you and Trey both have been doing a huge amount. You are perfect examples for someone to just follow, but you don't end it there. You go out, you seek out different opportunities to share what it is that you know and help others to make it a little bit easier for them, to skip a couple of steps that aren't necessary. But you've written books, you've spoken huge number of times to countless people and in lots of different places. And so again, I have to throw that back at you. You're fantastic. Trey's fantastic, and I appreciate all that you guys are doing to uplift the photographer community.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I love it.
All right, let's give an opportunity for let's do Gabriel next to give his closing thoughts. Yeah, Gabriel.
Well, hey, well, I for sure want to thank you and Amanda as well for doing this, taking the time away from other things. I know that take precedence sometimes, but growing the community of photographers here, growing the community of creatives. I think to piggyback off what Elizabeth said, we need to encourage each other more. We need to give each other these tips, these values. They're going to help them because as a city, as a whole, as a community, we will grow and we will outshine other cities and maybe are outshining us right now. But I think we can do it by doing things like this. And just a little, I guess, little story. So I think it was 2011, the very first meetup, anything that had to do with photography outside of what I did was with Jim Landers in the Dominion. And it was the first time that I was around professional photographers. They were doing it. And I learned how to do print consultations. I remember, I think somebody gave me a tip. It could have been you, Jim, getting a little projector and taking it to your print consultations and projecting their photos on their wall so they can get a visual of what their prints look like. And I remember selling my first print and I was like, this is wild. I never thought I can make money in photography. And so kind of fast forwarding almost 11 years, 12 years later, I'm here on your show and I think that's amazing. And to all the photographers out there that are just starting out and that are not thinking that it's going to get better, it does. I promise it does. But you do have to stay consistent. You have to put the work in and you have to love yourself and love the work that you're doing. And good things will come out of it. So just thank you. I just want to thank you.
I appreciate that. And you know what? That you mentioned about projecting, and that's definitely something that I recommend a lot of times. It's not the right tool for every single photographer,
Yeah.
but for a lot of portrait photographers, especially family portrait photographers, it
Yeah.
is. If it's going to go on the wall, projecting is a great way to do that. But along the lines of something you said earlier, that how networking is key and getting to
Yeah.
know those around you makes a huge difference. You gave an
Yes, it
example
does.
of that, of where you learned this from me, but I did networking to be able to learn this from someone else.
Of course.
I learned this from a photographer in Houston named Alvin G. Years ago. I mean, had to have been in the 90s, I think. Maybe I'm
Wow.
wrong, but it's been a long time that I heard this. And so it is in us getting out and visiting, getting to know people that we really learn. YouTube is great. It's fantastic. I consider it a fantastic supplemental education, but
Yeah.
not an ideal primary education,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
you have to know what questions to ask.
Yep.
And a lot of us don't know the questions to ask because we
Yeah.
don't know enough about the subject to ask the right
Exactly.
questions.
Exactly.
So the networking, getting out and visiting with people, hearing some things you never heard before
Yes.
and think, what is that? And doing some research
Yes,
and then trying it yourself, like you've done so fantastic, Gabriel. I
for
appreciate
sure.
you
Thank you.
saying that, and thank you so much for being here on the panel this evening.
Of course. Thank you.
All right, let's allow Christie to give her closing thoughts. Christie, the floor is yours.
Hello. Thank you. I mean, just to piggyback off of everyone, yeah, this has been really amazing. I definitely got comfortable. I think just having you guys be so welcoming to having all of us on here. I actually met Amanda before I met you, Jim, and got to learn a lot of what Portrait Profits was and what you did for the community through the collaboration with Digital Pro Lab that we have. And it's been really remarkable. I think that's one thing that I always love about working with different people in the community is being able to see an industry here in San Antonio that I might not have otherwise have had access to. I am really new into the creative industry and still have so much to learn. I feel very fortunate that I've surrounded myself or have found people that I believe in, that I respectfully, that are talented and experienced, and that are still willing to learn new things. I think that's really amazing and great to be around. So, very much thank you, Jim. Thank you, Elizabeth. I actually really like you too. You're super cool. Can't wait to network and meet in person. And Gabriel, I see you all the time. So I'm excited that we actually had an opportunity to be around here. And definitely thank you to Amanda at Digital Pro Lab. She was kind of the first person that I met in the industry that I have a lot of respect for, that is very honest, straightforward, down to earth. And it shows in everything that she does at Digital Pro Lab does. And it's so amazing to be welcomed into that community and to continue to benefit, from each other's experiences and to teach each other things and show each other new perspectives. I think one thing I very much advocate for is not just education in from photographer for photographer, but again, going back to educating the general public, educating the consumers, the corporate organizations, the local businesses, painting value for our industry as a whole. I mean, I feel like artists in itself already deals with a lot and not being taken seriously or being seen as a hobbyist. But what we do is we inject color into the world around us. We document, we archive, we tell stories, we build memories together, and we do that all through our creative artistry and just literally the sheer will to create. And I think that's so precious and doesn't get enough recognition for what it means to our society. It's the soul. It's the culture. I think it's definitely something that I've really come to find out is that photographers, videographers, graphic designers, like we are the modern day the people who create the documentation for what's happening on a day-to-day basis. We are the keeper of the photos, the keeper of the storytelling. I think it's super powerful. So I just appreciate you all and being so warm and welcoming, and can't wait to see what more we all have to put out into the world and to be a part of. So thank you.
Aw, that's great, Christy. I like that. So I appreciate the time that you've given us today, your insight, your views that are from a different perspective of a photographer, because we appreciate that. We photographers definitely enjoy and like to compare, like Gabriel said, but that's not the only way that we learn. But being able to hear things from other points of view, like Elizabeth said, outside of our industry, and so we appreciate the insight, the point of view that you have brought to this panel today.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm definitely not a huge photographer. I learned photographer to help Noelle second shoot, and then I fell in love with product photography. I'm actually more of a like art director slash graphic designer. So
Yeah.
this was super awesome to just kind of have those different perspectives. And thank you for being so open to, the different ones. It made me feel very welcomed and not so shy to speak on behalf of it.
You've done great. So I'm going to bring you and the other two panelists back here in just a moment. I'm going to bring Amanda on here in a second, but we'll bring the three of you on all at one time just to say thank you here in just a second. So hang on for me. You guys, I want to encourage you, viewers, to hit that like button, hit that love button, but also in the comments, say something to the panelists. Say, thank you guys. I appreciate the time. I appreciate your ideas. Something that is directly to them that says, thank you. I appreciate you. Put that in the comments right now. I want to see it. You can do that. They've given their time to us. The least we can do is say thank you in the comments. So do that for me right now. And I want to bring on Amanda. Amanda.
To unmute my mic.
I probably should give you a warning before I do that.
I know. Last time I was like looking down or something.
Well, yeah, but that was an accident. Sorry.
It's totally fine. We'll cut that out later.
we have our little powwow afterwards.
Areas of improvement.
Yeah,
I loved every part of the panel. Everybody had really good insight. Marketing is a big passion of mine. And it's, Christie mentioned, it's an area of experimentation. I know for our company as well. So, don't be afraid to test and experiment in a space that you may not feel super confident in. And a lot of people think that it just is pigeonholed to social media right now. And that may be some of the most affordable space if you can create catching content. But it's not the only area. There's still, going out and meeting people and just saying what you do, like Gabriel mentioned, just talking about what you do is a free form of advertising for yourself. I think Elizabeth mentioned, there's still marketing pieces that can be created that, so many of us are inundated every single day with email marketing and social media marketing and all of this digital advertising that it's like, shut it off, man. When I get a handwritten thank you letter or, hey, nice to meet you in a letter, that goes, eons further than a social media thing that maybe slips in my feed, sometimes. So there's just so many creative aspects of what we do. There you go. Digital Pro Lab, providing little cards and stuff. So thanks for adding that, Jen. As I fly around the screen over here.
Yeah, I try to figure out how to make it bigger, but I can't.
So Christie with Koasis Media is actually, they're part of our marketing team now. We've partnered with them, and they're doing amazing things, not only with our product photography, but our, videos that we've been doing. She said something to me that was very, that I hope it stuck with everybody else. Power of people, and we've really been tapping into a lot of our customers. We're in a storytelling industry, and we have to remember that as photographers, as creatives, we're trying to tell stories, and just printing photos or taking photos sometimes doesn't go far enough. We need to explain those stories. And that's part of our marketing that we've started to incorporate in, because those are things that actually help land and connect and educate and tell people the importance of the service that we provide. A lot of people don't know that I have my degree in history, so preserving and telling stories is near and dear to my heart, and creating tangible things that are going to live on past my lifetime or past the people that we work with lifetime, so that their stories continue, on to next generations. Those are very, very important, powerful things. So once you really understand what you're doing and there's passion behind that, the marketing effort it can be very easy in a lot of different ways, especially as you try to articulate what you do, because that's really a lot of what marketing is, right? It's articulating what you do, and that storytelling aspect of what we do is just it's just really powerful, because people's stories are powerful. So just keep that in mind and integrate that into your marketing campaign. as well. I know I wanted to share this really quick, Jim. So because we've been doing a lot of different things in our marketing platforms, I did want to remind everybody that, follow us at Digital Pro Lab. We're on Instagram, we're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, TikTok, YouTube. Nothing is perfect. We're definitely trial and error. There's some really great stuff, and then there's some little things that we're still, working some kinks out. So follow us, see what we're doing, see what's working for us, and hopefully you find value in that, and can use our experiences to your advantage as well. And apart from that, I mean, you just showed a picture of greeting cards that were done. Fabulous picture taken by Koasis Media. But I've got I've got business cards that we print. We print stickers. These are very inexpensive. We print our own. Brochures and marketing materials. All this stuff is printed in-house at Digital Pro Lab. We print these things for ourselves, but these are also for customers as well. And we specialize in short run printing. So again, that experimentation, you don't have to do a run of 5,000 of something. You can just put your logo on a mug, little things like that, and put some candy in there and deliver that to a customer. And that's fairly affordable. And you don't have to do 5,000 of them or 500 of them. You can do one a week and go make a connection. There's a lot you can do. So be creative, get involved, with other creative people that are going to help you think a little bit outside the box. I know I was telling y'all ahead of time, I've got these flowers behind me. They're actually from a nonprofit that were thanking me for devoting some time and energy to them. They provide something, and because they're going the extra mile to thank me, I'm going to continue to support them in so many ways because of the amazing things that they do for our community. So power of the people, tell your stories, and be creative. So those are my takeaways for y'all.
Love that. So our panelists have shared their wealth of knowledge and experience with us. And we trust that you, our viewers, our Portrait Profits friends, have taken away something valuable, some valuable insights, some practical tips that are going to help you on your own journey to whatever your definition of success is. Remember, success is not just about the gear you have or the skills that you have. It's about having the passion, the drive, the determination to take your dreams and turn them into reality. So let's embrace the power of creativity that exists in each one of us. Take action of what you have learned today and never stop striving for greatness. Thank you for joining us, and we wish you all the best in your journey to success. Now, I'm going to bring the panelists back on one last time for you guys to have an opportunity to say thank you to them. I want you to show your appreciation when we bring them back on by clicking that like button, clicking that love button, and making a post that says something as simple as thank you. I appreciate it. It's wonderful people like Christie, Elizabeth, and Gabriel who uplift the photography community, and we want to encourage them to continue to do so. And we do, and by what we want to encourage others to do the same. So let's bring on Christie, Elizabeth, Gabriel, and thank you guys for being here today.
Thank you
Thank
for
you.
having us.
Thank you. Had a great time.
You guys rock.
Thank y'all
You're
so
awesome.
You rock.
Thanks, guys. All right. So I'm going to take them back off, and another wonderful panel of wonderful people who are uplifting the photographer community, who are just wonderful, energetic, happy, willing to share what they want to learn. I love it.
Yeah.
So was there anything else you wanted to say before I share what the upcoming shows are going to be and then close this out?
I think I covered the majority of it. I mean, everybody come follow us at Digital Pro Lab. Stop by Digital Pro Lab here in San Antonio, Texas, or if you want, just pop by our website so that you can see, a lot of what we do. We are here as a professional photo lab to help you create tangible things that you can provide your customers. And if you're here in San Antonio, we have an amazing retail space where you can see, touch, feel everything that your customer is going to want to experience, and we help build those and curate collections of products for you. So if you don't know where to start with selling products, that's what we specialize in. We want to create something that you're going to be proud of and you can sell, so that it kind of sells itself because you're passionate about it. So stop by, say hi. I do this and I try and be on here as often as possible so that you can, put a face to Digital Pro Lab. It's not often an owner of a company, especially a company the size of ours, is this front facing and this accessible, especially on a lot of our social media platforms. I make myself very accessible, and so do a lot of our teammates, which if you're going to hop onto Instagram and look at any of our videos, we do have videos of even our customer service people that are also artists and very active in the community. So you're going to meet them, and they're creative, and they're going to inspire you as well. So we try and cultivate that customer service aspect, that connection, that I think, as some of the panelists mentioned, that it's very, very important. And, it doesn't matter how great you are at what you do, that service aspect of it goes a very, very long way. And I think that that's the key to our success. So if you're looking for a business that is going to put service and that connection first and foremost, that's definitely our business. And, we're going to grow with you. And that's what we do. That's what we do every day, and why we love it and continue on and continue to grow, because we don't grow without y'all's growth. So
That's right. Yeah, Digital Pro Lab has been around since '93. Is that right?
Is this, 30 years in November.
Yeah.
Christy, don't let me
Wow.
forget that. We need to, we need to throw a big party. Yes.
That's a long time, and what you guys do is beneficial to us as photographers. We create our beautiful images, but when they get printed, when someone gets to enjoy them, you're the one who makes us the hero to our clients. And so we need you, and you guys are going well beyond any expectations that we'd even have. So thank you for all that you do and your team there at Digital Pro Lab.
Thanks, Jen. Me too.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Amanda. Let's talk about the upcoming shows. As you guys know, the Portrait Profit Show is every single Monday. We don't skip. Every single Monday. Talk about consistency, right? And every Monday, almost every Monday, it's at noon. But on the second Thursday of each month, second Monday of each month, we move it to 6:30 in the evening to partially to accommodate everyone's schedule who's a panelist, because it's just easier for them to make it in the evening, but also for those who can't make it during lunch. But our next meeting, as you know, every single Monday. So the next one is at noon, and that's that subject. And let me bring that up on the screen. There we go. Is called The Art of Attracting Ideal Clients. And let's see. There we go. Art of Attracting Ideal Clients. That's going to be February 20th, a week from today. And, clients are not just anyone with a pulse, nor are they anyone who has some bucks in their pocket. Ideal clients are people who energize you and want to work with you so much that they do whatever it takes to be able to work with you, even if that means saving up for a good period of time, months, years, to be able to work with you. How do we get that ideal client so that we're not wasting time with people who drain our creative energy? Because we are best when we're working with someone who energizes us. That's what the topic of the next Portrait Profit Show is. And then a week after that, on the 27th, we're going to be talking about the 3 Ps for a professional portrait photographer. Now, the 3 Ps, before I get to that, you can have everything you want in life, but you must define it first. The 3 Ps are the key performance indicators, KPIs, a lot of you may know it as, For you as a professional portrait photographer, to define where you are and what you're going to do next. When we make the path clear, when we make the destination clear, what the goals are going to be, it makes it a lot easier for you to know what is right. And you guys who have watched the show for a while know that I use this analogy a lot. It's not the difference between good and bad that makes you a successful photographer. It's knowing the difference between good and right that makes you successful, because you can wander your entire photography career. You can wander doing good things and never reach the success that you want. And it's usually because you haven't defined the success that you want. So we're going to be talking about the KPIs, the 3 key performance indicators, the 3 Ps for a professional portrait photographer on the 27th. All right. Tomorrow is a special day for you guys and for everyone in the world, and that is Valentine's Day. So I want to leave you with Happy Valentine's Day tomorrow. And also, as we close this out, I want you to say one more time, thank you. If you haven't already, say thank you to the panelists. And for those of you that do put that thank you up on the panelists, as I close this out right now, I'm going to share those thank yous so that they can see them here at the end of this presentation. Again, today we've been talking about the panel discussion of marketing. I want to thank you for your time and attention here today. And thank you for being a part of this effort. And you are making such a big effort to be an amazing portrait photographer. I encourage you to like, to share the Portrait Profit Show, and of course, tune in to our live stream every single Monday, the next one a week from today at noon. Together, we can help each other achieve our goals and make a difference in the world through our passion for portrait photography. Now go out there, continue making those memories and evoking those emotions that bring happiness to others. For Landers Photography School and Digital Pro Lab, I'm Jim Landers, and I'm bringing you the weekly Portrait Profit Show, giving you evolving content, awareness, and even fun to the business side of photography as we unpack the mysteries of the business side, offering tips and insights to help you with the struggles you deal with now so that you are constantly realigned to the success that you deserve. Thank you for investing your time here at the Portrait Profit Show. Bye for now.